The military burned families alive over a labor dispute. This isn't some forgotten war overseas. This happened in the United States. 1914, Colorado. And it all leads to one of the darkest moments in labor history, the Ludlow Massacre. To understand Ludlow, you have to understand how miners were living. Coal miners in Colorado weren't just employees. They were completely controlled. They worked for massive companies that paid them in company scrip instead of real money, forced them to live in company-owned housing, charged them inflated prices at company stores, and could evict them instantly if they stepped out of line. On top of that, the work itself was brutal. Explosions, cave-ins, suffocation. People died regularly. So miners started demanding basic things. The right to be paid in real money, safer working conditions, the ability to unionize. That's when the United Mine Workers stepped in.
In 1913,
about 12,000 miners went on strike. And that's when everything escalated. One of the biggest companies involved was Colorado Fuel and Iron, owned by John D. Rockefeller Jr. Now, Rockefeller wasn't down in the mines, but he controlled the company making the decisions. And those decisions were aggressive. Instead of negotiating, the company evicted striking workers and their families from their homes, forced them into tent colonies, hired private guards to intimidate and control them. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. These companies had serious influence over government officials. So when tensions started rising, the response wasn't mediation, it was force. The governor of Colorado sent in the National Guard. Officially, it was to keep the peace, but in reality, things weren't neutral. Some guardsmen had ties to the mining companies. Others were openly hostile toward the strikers. So now you've got armed workers, armed guards, and the military in the middle. What started as a strike turned into a full-blown standoff. For months, tensions built, gunfire, raids, harassment, and then everything snapped. April 20th, 1914. The Ludlow tent colony, home to hundreds of striking families. The National Guard surrounds the camp. No one agrees on who fired first.
but once it started,
It didn't stop. Machine guns opened up on the tents. Families ran. Children hid. Chaos everywhere.
by the end of the day the camp was set on fire, and when the smoke cleared, they found bodies. Women and children hiding in a pit beneath one of the tents, suffocated as the fire burned above them. In total, around 25 people were killed, including 11 children. This wasn't just a clash between workers and soldiers anymore. This was a massacre.
And here's what most people don't realize. Ludlow wasn't the end. It was the breaking point. After the massacre, miners across Colorado picked up weapons. For the next 10 days, the region turned into a war zone. Miners attacked mines. Gunfights broke out across the coal fields. Buildings burned. Dozens more people died. This became known as the Colorado Coalfield War. And it got so bad, the U.S. Army had to step in to stop it. Not to solve the problem, just to end the violence. So, did the workers win? No. The strike eventually collapsed. The union wasn't recognized. Most demands were denied. Many workers were blacklisted. And here's the hardest part to hear. Some of those miners had no choice but to go back. Back to the same mines. Back to the same system. Sometimes working for the same company tied to the violence. After losing friends. After losing family. They still had to survive. But Ludlow didn't disappear. The country saw it, and people were outraged. Rockefeller's reputation took a massive hit. He was dragged into investigations, forced to publicly respond. Eventually, he pushed for some reforms, but many saw it as damage control. Still, something shifted. Ludlow became a symbol. It exposed how far corporations and government could go when profit and power were threatened. And over time, that pressure helped fuel real labor protections, safer working conditions, stronger worker rights, more accountability. Not immediately, but eventually. The Ludlow Massacre isn't just a story about the past. It's a reminder that there was a time in America when asking for basic rights could get you labeled a threat and met with bullets. That didn't come from one man. And the system that allowed it? It came from power, money, greed, and a government willing to protect it. If you didn't know this story before, now you do. And once you hear it, it's hard.
Are you coming to the tree? They strung up a man.